Hey guys, so the other day I released a video regarding a YouTuber called Hypnotic and the people that he had on that podcast, and it was surrounding an individual called Abubakar Salim who works for Surgent Studios, and he made a game, and the game seems to be surrounding the passing of his father. Now, the reason that this sort of blew up is because on that podcast there were several individuals who made racist remarks, and since then have tried to cover up as we're just joking, as if they're comedians. Now, I'll be completely open with you guys. I've spoken to two people on that podcast. One of them is obviously Smash JT. I told you guys before that I already knew Smash JT. We've already spoken in private a few times, and he's left very nice comments on my video. So he reached out to me after I put that episode up, and he invited me onto his podcast or his show or a live stream. So at some point I will be appearing on Smash JT's YouTube channel. I don't know when. He's going to try and sort it out very soon. I also spoke to Leon, who was on that podcast as well. I saw Leon's back and forth with Abubakar Salim, which was much more respectful than what was being displayed on that podcast. So my issue is not with those two today. Like I said, I'll be speaking to those two at a later date. My issue is with other people on the podcast, namely Hypnotic and that fat sack of shit that was sitting at the bottom of the podcast, Ryan. Whatever his name is, reality based or something like that. Nobody really cares. What we care about is what he actually said on the podcast. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, don't talk about them, Mike, because it's just going to give them the attention they want. And the same thing that I said about Sweet Baby Inc. is the same thing that I'll say about them. When people are doing messed up things within this industry, I don't think it does us any good to just turn a blind eye. Sweet Baby Inc. were able to make their way into our games, and a lot of us were unaware because we weren't paying attention. Now, if we were to just sweep them under the rug, they'd probably continue to get paycheck after paycheck, and we would be none the wiser. It is better to speak about these things and call them into question and bring them into the light, as some people like to say, so everyone can point the finger at them and let them know that we don't really fuck with this. The same goes for these individuals. Now, Hypnotic is a fairly large YouTuber, is much bigger than my YouTube channel, but some of the other guys on there, people were saying to me, Mike, they don't even have 4 or 5k subscribers. That doesn't matter to me. You guys could probably tell by the content that I put up that it doesn't really matter how many subscribers you've got, or how many comments you get, or how many views you get. If I feel like it's something worth talking about, then I'll talk about it. Now, a couple of those guys on that podcast were making racist remarks, and they've been called out by multiple people, not just me, in the exact same way that Sweet Baby Inc. were making racist remarks against white people and trying to brush it off as it not being a big deal because it's white people. I don't see any reason why we should remain quiet when people on Hypnotic's YouTube channel are making racist remarks, because we didn't stay quiet when SBI was doing it. And we all know that Sweet Baby Inc. has made loads of racist remarks against white people. It's been well documented. You can go through my channel and see the remarks they've made. You can go on Endymion's channel. I'm sure Hypnotic's got them up as well. So I don't think I should be treating them any differently. And me calling Hypnotic out, or Ryan, or anybody else on that podcast, does not infringe on their free speech. To anybody that was saying that I want to censor them, at no point did I call for their censorship. At no point did I call for Hypnotic's channel to be taken down. At no point did I call for them to be silenced. I'm against that completely. I think it's better to have these things out in the open. Unless you do something so egregious, so absolutely barbaric, that we're like, right, we need to get this person off the platform. I'm of the opinion that it's better to have people on here so you can challenge their ideas. I don't see any benefit in pulling down Hypnotic's channel. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't even go that route. It wasn't so severe that you destroy somebody's channel over it. So for everybody that was going down that road, I don't know where you got that from. Maybe it's your first time here. I don't advocate for those sort of things. Even against some people that I've had actual issues with, I've never advocated for their channels to be taken down. And a lot of you seem to be confused with what free speech actually is. Hypnotic and whoever goes on his YouTube channel can say whatever the hell they want. Free speech affords them that, but so can I. Challenging somebody's beliefs does not infringe on their free speech. If you say some stupid shit to me in person, am I supposed to stay quiet? That's not how free speech works. That sounds more like censorship. So for anybody else that was commenting saying it sounds like you want to censor them, it sounds like you're against free speech, it sounds like you're against free speech. Because the way free speech works is if you say something, I have the right to retaliate. And that is exactly what I did, and that is exactly what multiple other people did. Now, the reason that I'm bringing this up again is because that fat sack of shit that was sitting in the corner of the podcast decided to double down and be doubly racist. Now, I was watching Will of the Fans live stream because it was 3 hours long, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to make a video on this yet. Let me watch the entire thing, because everybody likes to say, oh, you take these people out of context, you take these people out of context, even though I sat there and watched Hypnotic's entire stream and just pulled the most relevant parts. I didn't just watch the 1 hour segment that was relevant to Abubakar Salim. I watched the entire thing But I'm not going to put the man's entire YouTube live stream on my channel and sit there in silence for most of it that is not relevant. For those of you that saw me posting the clips on Twitter that were like 30 to 40 seconds and telling me I'd pulled it out of context, the context is in that video. You can go and watch the live streams for yourself. There is no relevant context missing. But anyway, that Lord of the Rings background character decided to double down and continue spouting racist shit. Now, as I said, it was on a live stream with Will of the Fans. When I woke up, because it was very late, I only got an hour and a half into the live stream, it was members only. Now, I don't know how copyright rules work with members only, so I have the clip of him being racist and it's on my Twitter page if you want to go and see it. But because of Will of the Fans putting the live stream behind the members wall, I'm not going to show you the clip just in case it gets my video taken down. We all know these guys will say they're free speech absolutists, but the moment you do something like this, they'll copyright claim your video. So I'm not going to take the chance. Instead, I'm going to read out to you what he said. And if you think I'm lying, go over to my Twitter page. You don't even have to go to my Twitter page. It's all over Twitter anyway. People have been reposting it all day, but it's over there and you'll be able to see it for yourself. So I'm going to read out to you exactly what he said following the controversy of his remarks regarding Spear Chugger. That's the first thing that he came out with, Spear Chugger, right? He made other racist remarks, but this is the one he wanted to reference. Some time ago, that is before I woke up today, I was on a great show, Saturday Night Hypnosis, whose special guest was Grums, and we were roasting a brownie together, ladies and gentlemen. His name sounds like a Palestinian alarm clock, but that's a topic for another show. So I know he's trying to be funny. Now, these kinds of basement dwellers are not socially integrated, so this is the only way they feel that they can communicate. And they'll paint it as jokes as much as they want. And they'll make out like they're comedians on Saturday Night Live, or that they are doing stand-up as if they are Martin Lawrence or Dave Chappelle. But they are just YouTubers, much like myself. They are not comedians. Now, I'd have more respect for you if you just owned what you did and admitted that you were being racist and you felt like throwing racist remarks. Instead, you want to pretend like that podcast is comedy hour. You're not comedians. You're not doing stand-up. And you know that. You're sitting on a podcast discussing something that, in the grand scheme of things, we understand that they're video games, okay? But within the context of these scenarios where we feel like people are forcing things into games or neutering games or destroying entire studios, gamers look at this as somewhat of a serious topic. Like I said, in the grand scheme of things, there are much more important things in life. But in this context, that's how gamers look at it. So it's not comedy hour. You're discussing issues that gamers have with these companies, with these studios, with these narrative consultant agencies. You're trying to point out how certain individuals have infiltrated the industry and have ruined our pop culture. That's what you're doing. You're not a comedy show. Okay, so stop being a bunch of pussies and pretending like this is comedy hour. It's not. And what baffles me the most is that, and again, I'm excluding Smash JT and Liam from this because I'm going to speak about them at a later date, but because I haven't spoken to the rest of them, and quite frankly, I don't really want to. What I don't understand is that you are grown men. You understand that when you put yourselves on the internet, out in public, to people that don't know you, and you're spouting racist shit, that we are going to look at it and be like, these guys are racist. See, you don't understand why they call it locker room talk. The reason they call it locker room talk is because it's behind closed doors, you dumbasses. No one's gonna come and shit on you guys if you're making remarks behind closed doors, because we all know what boys group chats are like. We all know what locker room talk is like. We know that when we're with people that we've built up a rapport with, that we have a relationship with, that we know understand our true feelings, that we can say all kinds of heinous things because they know that we're messing around. In my group chats, I've got African guys in there, I've got Italian guys, I've got guys from Czech Republic, guys over in America, all over the world, and we will say all manner of crazy things to each other. But those guys are like my brothers. Now, these guys are apparently your friends. So in private, if you guys were ripping each other or making edgy jokes, no one's gonna say anything. If your text messages are leaked and it was the boys ripping into each other, I'm not even going to bother referencing it. But you guys did it on an open public platform. There's a reason why they call it locker room talk. It's behind closed doors. Do not be surprised if people watch these videos when you have people like Ryan on, that orc that was in your video, making those remarks and then perceive them as racist. And then go on Will of the Fans podcast and double down. And just before anyone says, once again, that you don't want to infringe on somebody's free speech and you want to let them talk however they want to talk. Nobody's saying that you are trying to censor your friends by telling them, hey, we're not doing that, we're trying to have a conversation here. You can say things to people that you're close with or that you're on a podcast with who may align with your views and be like, bro, why, for what reason are you being racist? Also think about the optics here. We're not in a locker room. We're not behind closed doors. It does not infringe on somebody's free speech to challenge them. That is the benefit of having free speech, so that if me and you have a conversation on a podcast and I don't like what you're saying, I can challenge you on it. Doesn't mean I'm trying to silence you. That is the common talking point that you hear from people. Oh, they've got free speech, they can say what they want. Yeah, they can say what they want. You can say what you want as well. Now, I'm not your dad. I'm not telling you what to say, but I'm just explaining to you how free speech works, because you seem to be a bit confused. Unless you think that you have to sit there in silence and let people say whatever they want, and then we can call other things into question. But if it is all just jokes, you might as well just drop the N-bomb, right? You're just joking, right? You've already done Spear Chugger, you've already done Darky, you've already done Brownie. You may as well drop the N-bomb, right? You are just joking after all. It's all just jokes. There's not a smidgen of disdain towards this man because of the color of his skin. It's all just jokes. Just fucking say it. And I know what the talking points will be. You're so tired of the other side making remarks about white people or gamers in general that you feel justified in firing back in similar fashion. But doesn't that just make you as bad as them? Doesn't that just put you in the same boat? Now, I was told when I woke up that Smash JT was reacting to my video on his live stream. So there were people over there watching it, and I was sent a screenshot. Now, this has nothing to do with Smash JT, like I said. This is aimed at Hypnotic. And there was a comment left in the live stream, and the live stream comment said, "It really hurt my feelings when someone who averages 6,000 views a day calls my podcast the most pathetic gaming podcast." You think that's a pretty funny thing to say. So what you're saying is that if I had more views, if I had 60,000 views a day, 600,000 views a day, then your feelings would be hurt. So basically, how many views I get directly correlates to who you're willing to listen to, which really tells me that you just got a stick up your ass, mate. Now, it wasn't too long ago that by your metrics, your channel was also irrelevant. I went through your channel, and just like everybody else, you had to start somewhere. Now, fair play to you. Your channel blew up within 3 years' time, but it was only very recently, in the grand scheme of things, where you were getting loads of views. Were your viewpoint suddenly invalid? Is what you're saying that anybody that criticizes you, maybe even people you know, maybe even your peers, if they don't have as many views as you, or if they don't have enough views to be deemed relevant, their points are invalid? So what happens if YouTube nukes your channel? What if they nuke my channel? What if they nuke people's channels that have millions of subscribers? Suddenly their opinions are no longer valid? So you're watching Hypnotic's live stream where he was talking about how everybody thought he was going to be cancelled, and he's there. I got the sense that this guy is validated by how many people are watching him, how many likes he gets, and how many donations he gets. Now, fair play to you, you've built yourself a base. You've got a bigger base than mine, you've got a bigger base than a lot of other people I know. But that doesn't make you more right, because by your metric, someone like Ethan Klein, for example, who I'm willing to bet you probably don't like, or people like the Young Turks, let's say, for example, willing to bet you probably don't like them either, because they get more views than you, because they've got a bigger subscriber base than you, right? Especially Ethan Klein, maybe Hassan, people you probably don't like. Would you cry over them making a video about you? Would your feelings be hurt? See, it's people like you that I will never have any respect for. You validate people based on how many views they get, how many subscribers they've got, and how many donations they get. You are not the kind of person that you can have an honest conversation with. Because anybody that has got less views than me now, we know that you ain't gonna pay them any peace of mind. And like I said, it wasn't that long ago that you weren't getting that many views either. So you can take your head out of your ass and you can start acting like a human being again. Because if YouTube did decide to do something, and please don't take it out of context, I'm not advocating for them to get rid of your channel. But if they did, suddenly nobody should pay you any time of day, nobody should care about anything you have to say because you don't have the numbers. Pathetic. And I'm willing to bet that if a bigger YouTuber went after him, he would come out with some bullshit like, why are you punching down? There's always a way to spin it. You can't just look at the situation for what it was. You guys don't know anything about Abubakar Salim in his personal life. What you do know is how well the game performed and who was involved in it. But you guys wanted to make it about everything else. That other bozo that was sitting at the top saying, "Sing me a song, the colored man." That land whale that you had on there, Ryan, saying, "I'll let this darky get back to it," and then trying to paint it up as jokes. As jokes. Not a single backbone. Not one of you has any integrity, and we know that you like to use this word grifter a lot, but it seems to me like you guys are grifting pretty hard. Now, you tried to criticize Abubakar for not coming on your podcast because he wanted to go on Twitter and have the discussions where everybody can see. Why does he need to come on your podcast to have a discussion with you when everybody can see what's going on Twitter? What difference does it make? The point is having a conversation. You just want to monetize it. All you care about are the views and getting donations from people and being validated by people that have have larger subscriber bases than you based on your own actions. It doesn't matter where Abu Bakr is posting the conversation. What matters is that he's willing to have the conversation. Now, fair enough, you can sit behind the monitor, you can sit behind the keyboard, and you can think about your answers, which in your case would probably be a good idea. But regardless, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because if you have better ideas than him, it doesn't really matter what he says. You should still be able to have the debate in front of everybody. And if you have better points than him, then he will be put to shame. You just want to monetize it. That's all it is. A lot of people have become extremely tribal when it comes to this DEI and SBI stuff. Now, I've said multiple times, the aggressive push of DEI is very blatant and gamers don't like it. Most of us can probably agree on that. That doesn't mean, however, just because we all agree on that we're going to agree on other things. That doesn't mean that you go on a public platform and start making racist, disparaging remarks about somebody and then try to backpedal and say it's just jokes. You're not sitting in your locker rooms, you're not sitting in your bedrooms, you're not on WhatsApp or Discord having a mess around with your boys. You're on a public platform discussing a game that might have had somebody at the helm of it that was pushing it with insidious means. It's not comedy hour, boys, okay? Stop pretending. You guys pander. That is your problem. You pander and pander and pander, and you don't want to see Alyssa McCante or you don't want to see Abu Bakr see you in a light where you're saying sorry for something, or you're maybe saying, yeah, do you know what, maybe we stepped out of line a little bit here. You just got to double down. Now, like I said, I'm not here advocating for anybody's cancellation. I'm going to be speaking with Smash JT at a later date on his YouTube channel. Maybe he might even appear on mine at some point. I'm going to speak to Leon at a later date. But I just want to make it clear to everybody, because I do get a fair amount of messages on Twitter, on my Instagram. I don't want you to get me confused with idiots like Hypnotic or idiots like Reality Based. Whilst I might be against practices in the industry, I'm not against seeing men of color in video games. I'm not against seeing women. I'm not against seeing gay people in video games. The context matters here. It's not just a blank slate. You should be able to look at things individually and work out whether this is bad or this is okay. Now, to their point, they did point out that Baldur's Gate is a very, very good example of this. And Baldur's Gate is a very, very good example. By all metrics, Baldur's Gate would be considered woke, right? But it has been done really, really well. And it's situations like that where you can isolate and you can say, okay, this is actually a very, very good game. So it's not a blanket thing. So anybody that has that impression, and if I gave you that impression, my bad. But please don't confuse me with people that just want to make racist remarks or want to latch onto something to make racist remarks, to make assumptions about a man's father that might have passed away and he's grieving over it. And as you guys know, I reply to you in the comments section. If you message me on Twitter, I will reply. If you message me on Instagram, my replies are a little bit slower over there, but I will reply eventually. It doesn't matter to me if you don't break 6,000 views per day. It doesn't matter to me if you don't have as many subscribers as I do. Those things don't matter. If you're willing to have an honest conversation, if you even want to call me out for something, I'll respond to you. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're rude in the comments section, which some of you were, I'll be rude back to you. Everything that I'm saying on this video is exactly what I'd say to any of these guys' faces. But we know full well that that neckbeard would not talk to Abu Bakr Salim like that. We know that. And that makes him a keyboard warrior. You would not walk up to another man in person and insult him by calling him a spear chucker, by calling him a darkie or a brownie, by saying this Eritrean looking motherfucker over here. He wouldn't speak like that in person. He's speaking like that from the comfort of his room. And quite frankly, I can't respect men that do that. If you're gonna say some shit on the internet, you should be prepared to say it in person as well. Otherwise, you're just a little bitch. Anyways, I will let you guys know when I'm appearing on Smash JT's podcast and on Leon's podcast as well. I don't know when it's going to be. I think tomorrow will be Smash JT, and then I'll speak to Leon and we'll set something else up. And if somebody wants to reach out to me to speak to me much like these guys did, I'm more than happy to speak to you. I'll catch you guys very soon. Take care and peace.